Hi guys, so I'm making eggless pancake and I have milk, semi-skimmed, I have self-raising flour. This is 300 grams. I have salt, baking powder, nutmeg, butter. This is cinnamon and sugar. Now there's a whole process of making pancakes, such as whisking it. I've already said this is eggless, so there's the eggs, and then there's some people who like to melt the butter. The process I'm using is the process I've always used. I make pancakes almost every single day, so this is how I make the eggless one. That's the butter at about 800 grams. 80 grams, I'm so sorry. Then I have a sugar, and that's about 100 grams because I always go a third of the flour. For the baking powder, I go about a third of a teaspoon. I'm really sorry if you can't see it properly. Don't forget, I'm using self-raising flour. If I was using plain flour, I'll go for a level teaspoon. That's the salt. I go equal amounts with the baking powder. The cinnamon is half the amount of the salt or the baking powder because it's not a main ingredient today. We're just using it as a background flavor.
Send a gorgeous hand-tied bouquet as an easy and convenient way.
I'm using whole nutmeg, so I'll just grate that. So that's the grated nutmeg. I'm using organic whole nutmeg, so it's quite strong. Now you may use vanilla extract, especially if you didn't have, say, cinnamon or nutmeg, just a little. I prefer to use vanilla only when I'm doing the egg pancake. So just mix it. So just try and mix the sugar with the baking powder first. Okay, so now I want to add the milk. Okay, so for the milk I haven't measured to tell you. That's because even myself, I just never know how much I'm going to put in. The reason why I say that is I've measured everything out for you today, but usually I don't measure these things. I just do them with the eye, and I do them every single day. And now I'm just going to mix this. Then I'll add all my flour, and then I can judge if I want more milk. For you as well, I guess, put in a safe amount of milk, add your flour, and then you watch the consistency I have of the pancake batter, and then you would see if you needed to add more milk and how much more. Okay, so I add the milk first because it's much easier to add the flour to the liquid rather than having added it to the butter. It will just take a lot of work, especially that I'm only using a fork. So I'm just adding half of the flour first. That's much easier. So this is it with half the flour, which is 150 grams. And now I just pour the rest. The butter is still clumpy, and that will dissolve as you start to beat this. So this is the consistency of the batter, and I would like to loosen it up just a little bit. But here I would spend time just mixing it like this. Not long, just about 2 minutes, just to make sure all of that raising agent is really at work. As you can see, it already is. I've only mixed it for about a minute. Okay, so if you added eggs to this, you've got yourself a cake batter. But then again, there's also eggless cake. I do make that as well, and this is just about it. Probably just a little bit more butter, but even the butter we do have here is probably fine as well. So I add the more milk that I do want, not too much. I like it a little thick. I'll try this first and see. My milk is nearly finished anyway, probably just use the rest. Okay, so I have what I want, the consistency. Oh, sorry, I didn't use milk. And this is how it is. Okay. This doesn't need oil to fry it. It depends on your pan. So my pan, I treat it like a wok. What I do is I put oil there, but that's just to seal it. And then when I carry on later, I don't use any oil to fry the pancakes. So I use butter and a little oil, and that's just to seal it. So my highest heat mark is 6. I do this on mark 2. The timer is at 3 minutes. So this is about 1.5 minutes. Okay, and that's it. And for me, I do it one at a time. It takes forever, so I'm going to show you the end product, and I hope you try it. It's really good. I forgot to point out something to you. When you put the pancake batter in, please don't press it down, because it rises a little, and that's what cooks it on the inside. So my pancakes, they cook about 3 minutes, so 1.5 minutes on each side. That's because I go for a low level. I mentioned I'm cooking it at 2. Sometimes I even do it at 1. It just depends to how my pan is reacting, or perhaps the butter and the batter itself. Remember, I said I don't usually measure this. I just go by my eye. Also, just in case you want to see the flip side, this is how it looks on the other side. My tutorial today isn't all that good, is it? So the other thing is, you can wait for bubbles to start to appear, but I would tell you to be more reliant on the back of the pancake. So if you take your fork, this is how I check mine. You can see the bubbles are appearing. So as soon as it's doing this, I know it's not ready, because when it's ready, when you do that, it doesn't come off like this. And what I want to see is how the back is cooking. So as soon as it gets to the right color that I want, see, I can tell, so I will turn it. So I've turned it. Also, before you turn it, make sure your fork can go all the way in. So you start at the front, and then just do this all the way, and then flip it over. Also, can you see how it's rising? So you don't press it down at all. So I've just flipped it back just to show you how quickly the other side cooks, because it's the first side that cooks for longer. This side actually cooks much faster. So just so you see, that's the first side and that's the second side. There was something I wanted to say, I've forgotten. I'm babysitting and cooking. I think what I wanted to say is that pancakes, they don't stop cooking when you take them out of the pan, they are still cooking here. So there's still heat. Also, the best way to do it for me is I stack them up. So I just leave it, and then after I'll put them on a flat surface just to have the heat keep going down. Don't cover them or do anything like that. And don't forget about the butter or the oil. You don't need that, at least not for my pan, because I'm just relying on the mixture that I made. So as you can see, it's completely dry. There's nothing there. So that's the last one done. Yes, it did take an hour, and I have, let me count. So I made 12 of them, and if you do calculate, it shouldn't take an hour. It's just the filming. I need to stop sometimes with the children and things like that. Also, halfway through, I actually did turn the heat down to 1, but I started half of them with the heat on 2. So it's all done now. Okay, that's it already. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Eid to all my Muslim viewers. I guess you celebrate tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye.